Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of the Legal Beagle podcast. Today we'll be talking with Brandon Sibley, the Big Sib. And so we had some people request him talk about his daughter's case with Oshner, and specifically how the private public nexus function test works to make them a state actor, because they took money and bribes and things of this nature. But we go in and get into that. We get into a few other little tangential, interesting topics. But I did my best to keep him on topic, and that's why we're under an hour. So anyway, a reminder: any of these documents, I'll put the appeal document in the show notes here. But anything else is that we discuss on this entire program, get in the Big Sib chat, and you can start from there. There's a few other groups, of course, that you have to find, but we don't want to publicize that out here to get more bots in to filter them out. So we're just go to the Big Sib chat, Telegram, or Alphonse's channel. You can navigate your way through the rest of the group. So just wanted to remind everybody about that. I'm going to have a Kurt update here soon. But nothing major has progressed in that area. We've just got we've run into communist after communist after communist in the judges that we come across to try to file our habeas corpus thing, our petition for habeas corpus, things like that. Anyway, I'll try to get that out to you, and I'm working on a few different lessons that I'll be putting out. I was on vacation for about 10 days. I was in Colorado riding the trails, and it was wonderful to be in nature and put my feet in that cold stream water and soak up the sun. It was wonderful. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well. And without further ado, here's Brandon. Welcome back to the podcast, Brandon. Thank you for being here.
Most pleasantly awake this morning on a Sunday morning, and glad to have you back, Gary.
Yeah, I know you're glad to see me up before 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air to get a text from Gary at 9:30 in the morning saying I'm ready.
It pleases your soul to hear that, doesn't it? It's like, yeah. Look, he had to suffer a little bit today, so I feel a little bit better about myself now.
I'm outside cutting grass, and I'm like, there's no way Gary's getting up. We talked yesterday, and Gary's like, let's do it at 10 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, right.
This is how committed I am to you guys. Getting up early. I recorded that live stream on Kurt update at like 7 in the morning. I mean, this is crazy. Y'all are interrupting my sleep patterns, and we're going to have to reassess this.
So what are we talking about today, Gary?
Well, Brandon, we had a number of people interested in your case about Toro Medical, and they wanted to talk about the nexus between private entities and public entities, making them a state actor or not, and turning it right into a privilege, that Supreme Court case, and which I cannot recall right off the top of my head, but I'm sure you do, or you know what we're talking about.
Yes.
And just a general update on what the appeal's going through, what they've argued, and what you're going to say on the reverse side.
So let's start at the beginning, right? What is a private right versus a public privilege? And so I have to be completely honest right now. The entire gist of the civil rights movement was a communist movement, first and foremost. If you go back to Miss Parker, Rosa Parks, they all, and Martin Luther King, they were all dedicated either social gospel experts or attended the school for Marxism. However, this is what we're doing. We're code pleading, right? And so let's even back up just a step further. Let's define what corporatism is, corporatocracy is, and what fascism really means, instead of this empty rhetoric or platitudes where nobody knows what fascism is.
Did
First
I
off,
get up before 10 o'clock in the morning to hear you call Rosa Parks a communist?
yeah, she is. She was a communist. And I'm so sorry that I'm going to bust this bubble for many people. But yes, Martin Luther King was a dedicated communist, and so was Rosa Parks.
Okay.
However, nonetheless, with that stated, this is factual. You can go research it yourself. You can go research the school that they attended. I don't have it in front of me, but nonetheless. So, in order for them to take a private right and convert it to a public privilege is what is called the Civil Rights Act, right? So we already had a Civil Rights Act, and this was the Ku Klux Klan Act, the KKK Act of 1871, if I'm correct. Yes, 1871. But nonetheless, in 1912 was when the corporatocracy began. Okay. You can actually do a Google search, and the AI for Google will show you that about 100 years ago, corporatism started. Yeah, they won't give you the exact date that it started, but a monopoly was incurred in 1912, and that was the creation of the Federal Reserve, which gave a private entity the ability to fund every movement that they wanted. Okay, so you can never beat this ability of this private entity to fund every endeavor or everything that they want. But just let me get off the tangent and get back to the crux of the matter. So if they can fund every movement that they want, one of the things that we've created here in law is called the public function test, right? So he who controls
Before
the
you
means
get
of
into
production.
that, I pulled up the AI on when did corporatism start, and the three key moments they mention is the French Revolution in 1789, 1891 Pope Leo the 13th introduced corporatism in the encyclical letter Rerum Novarum, which influenced Catholic business associations, and throughout history, corporate ideas have been paired with various political systems, authoritarianism, absolutism, fascism, liberalism, and social democracy.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I thought that was important.
It is because from 1912 forward, America gave up its sovereignty. So we must understand that first and foremost. Okay, and when you give the coin to somebody else, you've forfeited sovereignty. Okay, that means that every avenue that this private entity wants to explore, they can do so with limitless funds. Okay, so we saw this with COVID. Okay, so the means of production has been controlled through what's called public-private partnerships. Okay, that's corporate. That's a corporatocracy. That means that the dictate comes from government down to the private entities, and the private entities go out and they have complete controlling interest of your life, liberty, and property. That's fascism. That's Mussolini's fascism. Okay, by definition, it is exactly fascism. And what's funny to me is to watch the left today scream fascist, 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 and yet be a part of cancel culture, with woke Inc. And then to watch it on the right side too, and what I call Con Inc. Much more dangerous than the woke, by the way, is Con Inc. And that's your Ben Shapiro's, that's your Charlie Kirk's, that's all these entities that control the narrative on the right and are limited hangouts and gateways. But nonetheless, they push the COVID nonsense too. You'll see that on both sides. They push the COVID nonsense too. However, so you've got what's called a public function test, right? So health is reserved for the state. First and foremost, the state, by the Ninth Amendment, has the duty of public health, general welfare, public health, and everything else. Everything that's enumerated in the Constitution that has been expanded so greatly, right? We're here. We're from the government. We're here to help.
We're not able to violate these rights. Oh wait, under health and terrorism we can.
That's right. That's right.
Let's go with that. Let's go with that.
So in my daughter's case, for 6 months, they psychologically manipulated, gaslighted, harassed, and coerced her. Okay. So the state, let's identify this real quick. The state is the only entity allowed to physically compel performance. Okay. Federalist 51. Let's read this real quick. I should have pulled this up already, but let's read this. 51 in human nature. This is a beautiful expose by James Madison, by the way. Want
to put this on the screen?
Yeah, go ahead, put it up there. Federalist number 51, written by James Madison, and it's the structure of government must furnish the proper checks and balances between the different departments. So, if you've never read or you have abstained from the Federalist Papers, I always advise people to start in 51. And I'll go over this ad nauseum in the studies and in different talks everywhere I go, because you must accept human nature first and foremost. Okay. There's one constant throughout history, and that's man. If you accept that, if you can accept that, then you won't buy into the utopian dream that is on the left or the right of the uniparty divide and conquer system. However, it may be a reflection on human nature that such devices, checks, and balances should be necessary to control the abuses of government. But what is government itself but the greatest reflections on human nature? If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. In framing a government which is to be administered by men over men, the great difficulty lies in this. You must first enable the government to control the governed, and then in the next place, oblige it to control itself. A dependence on the people is no doubt the primary control on the government, but experience has taught mankind the necessity of auxiliary precautions. So, with that said, so in a constitutional republic, the duty is on us. We are required to hold the checks and balances and maintain the borders around the criminal government. But what we've done for the last 70 years allowed such criminality to go on in government. There's no risk for them. And so really we want to blame they and them and everything else. But the truth is we relinquished our duty for mammon. And I know that's a slight tangent, but nonetheless, it's necessary to understand how we got to where we are. So the number one protector.
What's the foundation of the nexus test you're going to get to?
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. Yeah, that's
right. So if you allow criminals to profit criminally, guess what they're going to continue doing?
Why not?
This is human nature, right? We're going to build a system around ourselves, give us a blanket immunity from everything, and violate the common law. So we'll talk about this real quick too. There's a couple religions. If you come to my study group, the next 6 weeks, we're going to discuss these religions that are contrary to the Anglo-Saxon common law. If you have not read the 62 edicts of the Magna Carta, I would advise you to go read them. If you do not know about usury in Christendom and how societies continue to degenerate from that point forward, please go read it. Michael Huffman has a great book called Usury in Christendom. It is a necessary book. Go read it. Just go read it. However,
and if you don't know the edicts of the Magna Carta, just look around. You can pick out about 58 of them happening right now.
Right. That's right. And it's crazy. 800 years later, we're living the same thing out. And that is dispossession from your private property. Your life and liberty are being restricted. And it's the same thing from Rome, Hellenistic Greece, Hammurabi. I can go back in time and always transpose exactly what's happening in our current reality. And it is to dispossess you from your private property. That way you, so without property rights, you have no other rights. Let's start right there. If somebody can come in and tell you they have controlling interest or ownership in your life, liberty, or property, you're a slave. And so what happened during COVID was private entities, CEOs, CFOs who had conflict of interest through monetary gains and were being told, coerced, and paid through the alphabet agencies, whether it was FDA, CDC, HHS, it was all of them. The beauty of this is that I have all this in Brandy's appeal is how many agencies told the private entity that you must do this. You must do this. And so what the private entity did was come in and say, okay, I own your body. I own, you have no autonomy, and we're going to inject this poison into your body.
Yeah, so they're saying you must do this while signing contracts to alleviate their or to give them immunity. So
right,
it's basically put the hospital out on their own, on a little island out here, and if they chose to do what they chose to do, then shouldn't they be liable?
And you're right. So even in the case of this hospital, what I could find publicly available was $112 million payout, right, from the CARES Act. That doesn't include all the finite details of, respirators, remdesivir or whatever. But $112 million payout just to comply during COVID-19. And so when your government comes in and hands out a dictate like Joe Biden's healthcare workers and OSHA, I don't know if y'all remember all this stuff, but it's there. If you go back in time,
well, the CARES Act was signed by Trump, was it not?
Well, yes, but so the CARES Act instituted the conflict of interest, which was amounted to $8 trillion, and I guarantee you that's higher than $8 trillion if we were to get the complete transparency on everything that was done.
Right.
However, what we do know is $8 trillion. However, the day after Joe Biden took office, he instituted the healthcare worker deal where he was going to come in and make all the healthcare. He got OSHA involved. They went through all the alphabet agencies there, trying to stick the Chevron deference to one of these statutory authorities, right? And what they were doing was expanding through the Chevron. And look, guys, I know a lot of you out there do not recognize how big the Chevron deference is and why they are trying to restructure the Supreme Court and everything else. We have enough justices on the Supreme Court right now that are natural law students, that they are actually going in and undoing the 80, 90 years of progressive seats on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but we've been told that that's actually democracy, the progressive.
No, that's not. Well, it's Plato's democracy, right? They keep telling you that so if anybody is not a student of history, let's go ahead and do what Plato's Republic really was. Plato's Republic is a democracy, however, but you're ruled by philosopher kings. Okay,
experts.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. You got it. You
right.
got it, Gary. Perfect. So it's the same thing that it's a caste system, and it was instituted here in 1912. It's another caste system. It was instituted in a plethora of different places all over the world. It was instituted in Bolshevist Russia. It doesn't matter where you go throughout here. Mao, that doesn't matter. But it is a caste system, right? And so this is the democracy they want. And it is a rule by experts. And that means your private rights become a sacrificial lamb for the public good, quote unquote, right?
I'm still waiting for the good.
Yeah, but we don't know the good. Only the dictates from the
Right.
men in suits, the white coats, can tell us what
I
the fuck the
forgot
good
I'm
is.
too simple to understand the
That's right,
complex
Gary.
good.
You
I'm
need to
sorry.
stop right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to
Okay.
stop right now.
Yeah, please, overlords, please just stop trying to help me. I'm good.
Well,
I'm
I'm sick
good.
of the blessings. I don't want any
Yeah.
more blessings from any
Right.
of them. Yeah, please stop blessing me. Don't.
Yes. Enough with the blessings. Enough with the blessings. Good grief.
So let's get into some legal framework here. So to state a claim under 1983, plaintiff must allege facts tending to show that one, that he has been deprived of a right secured by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, and that the deprivation was caused by a person or persons acting under color of state law. Okay, so to dispel the nasty rumor out there that the federal government can't be acting under state law is false, first and foremost. So the federal government can be the next required nexus for a Title 42 1983 claim. However, it is the agencies is how they've been working through through this with the unelected federal bureaucrats, state bureaucrats, and everything else, which have granted the private corporations full-blown immunity to come and exert interest or ownership in private rights. This is exactly why the Fifth and the 14th Amendment exist. Okay, is for you or me to exert interest or ownership in your property. I must what? I must bring you to a court of law, show that I haven't controlling interest or ownership, and then prove it with facts and evidence. Well, no, we've bypassed all due process of law here in this country. We've just thrown that out the damn window under the guise of public health. And listen, folks, you can transpose this on your income tax, property tax. I don't care which way you go. Since 1912, we are being dispossessed from our private property. That is the goal, to dispossess you from your private property and have you penniless, broke, and dependent upon the state. Okay, so the state is your new god. So
Get ready for government cheese.
That's right. So let's define color, right? If I color something, it looks like it's kind of like the word quasi, right? If I color in something, it looks real, it has the smell of real, might even feel it as real, but it doesn't have authority. So when these mandates come out, right, and all these damn corporations come around and wanted to exert interest or ownership, that's under the color of law. There was no legislative authority anywhere in any state, federally or anything, that allowed them to come in and force you to inject something into your body. So from that point forward, it's under the color of law. There's actually absolutely no authority anywhere that stipulates that they can have interest or ownership of your property.
And there still isn't.
No.
Right.
Still isn't.
So they didn't find this emergency and say, hey, let's act real fast and let's pass this. No, they didn't, because they couldn't. And they know they couldn't. Otherwise, they would have enacted all these laws. Oh, you got to put that mask on in public. You got to do that. Well, they couldn't. They couldn't.
Well, and so
no one want to be liable for that.
Well, that's right. And so we'll talk about Brandy's case here in the reply brief submitted by nine, maybe 10, maybe 9 or 10 lawyers that have noticed notice for appearance on Brandy's appeal. Okay, that's 9 or 10 lawyers from a big time law firm against little old me. Of course, they think it's Brandy, but it doesn't matter. I can ghostwrite. I can ghostwrite for anybody. I just can't sign for you. But nonetheless, there's nothing illegal about ghostwriting. Okay, and just something for all you to know. There's no illegality for ghostwriting.
Well,
However,
are there some states that might do that though? I know it's not in our state, but it
no,
varies between states. No.
yeah, it does. Each state varies, but none of them have come out and said it's illegal.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to be clear.
Yeah. No state has said it's illegal. And it's usually a protection for, I mean, how could it be illegal in your common law system when, as you can do an amicus briefs, where you can write habeas corpuses as friends of the court, things of that nature? It would deprive you of the ability to protect your friends. And we can never let this go away, by the way. We can never let this go away, because somebody that is incapacitated, as a friend, as a brother and sister in Christ, we should be able to help them. Okay, we can never let this go away. This is one of the things that has stayed true through the common law system. They want to get rid of the common law system, the Anglo-Saxon common law system from Magna Carta. They want to get rid of it. We cannot let them get rid of this system. Because as soon as we lose the common law system, we are in codes, statutes, and everything else, and now we're doing substantive law by the rabbis out of the Talmud.
We just soon joined the Bar Association.
That's right. So, for private action to be deemed what is called state action, the challenge conduct must be fairly attributable to the state. Okay, this test has two parts. Okay, this has two parts. It's the public function test, state compulsion test, nexus test, joint action test. It's got to fit one of these criteria. I think in the 9th or maybe the 11th Circuit, you've even got what is called the symbiotic test. Okay, I'm reading from the 5th Circuit. And in this case is Bass versus Parkwood Hospital. Okay. So we're going to read this together. This is one of my saved cases right here. I've quoted this case over and over again in Brandy's. One of the things that the district courts have done is disallow you to get to discovery. Why? Because at the discovery stage, you can actually start proving your case and your facts. And now the case isn't closed. The pleadings aren't closed. All you have to do in a common law system is plead facts that would reasonably infer that the criminal action has happened. No. So we've introduced the 12B1, 12B6, all this bull crap that will throw everything out, and the judges can just do whatever they want to keep the people from getting justice. And this is a relatively new criteria, this plausibility standard. The plausibility standard. If you go read, Gary, please attach Brandy's appeal to this study. If you go read Brandy's appeal, I think it's section 5. It's the last section before I close. You'll see a different standard was available all the way up till the 1970s. It wasn't until very recently that we did this plausibility standard and allowed these judges to have carte blanche immunity to disregard anything that's brought into their courtroom. However, let me get back. So the Supreme Court has applied several different formulas to determine whether seemingly private conduct may be charged to the state. And Lugar, Supreme Court, you see it, recognizing public function test, state compulsion test, nexus test, and joint action test. Under the public function test, a private entity may be deemed a state actor when that entity performs a function which is traditionally the exclusive province of the state. Okay, so let's just rewind in our little heads here. What is public health? The general welfare. That's a complete action of the state. And look, folks.
I don't have a feeling it's going to be an ambiguously defined term.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying for for it's just that simple. We're not complicating things here, right? A private entity may be deemed a state actor when the entity performs a function which is traditionally the exclusive province of the state. And what blew my mind is that all these lawyers and all these judges and all these people, Jacobson versus Massachusetts, Jacobson versus Massachusetts, that was the state in court trying to exert interest or ownership in Jacobson. He paid a fine, never took the shot. However, he got his due process. And so it's crazy to me. However, while many functions have been traditionally performed by governments, very few have been exclusively reserved to the state. The state compulsion or coercion test holds that a state normally can be held responsible for a private decision only when it has exercised coercive power or has provided such significant encouragement, either overt or covert, that the choice must in law be deemed to be that of the state. Whoa, 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 whoa. So we'll give you money. We'll give you incentives. We'll tell you that you can't get Medicaid, Medicare unless 100% of your look.
And there's probably a lot of other things that went on that we don't even know.
We don't even know about it because
Right.
we're not allowed to get into discovery and start digging, right?
Right.
And you know as well as I know, it's been 3 years now. They have been deleting and getting rid of all the evidence that they can. Okay, that's what they've been doing. So we'll go to the next, right? We'll go into the nexus or joint action test. Okay, under the nexus or joint action test, state action may be found where the government has so far insinuated itself into a position of interdependence with the private actor that it was a joint participant in the enterprise. Has anybody figured out yet that what we have is a state actor? They fail all the tests. You only have to fail one of the tests to be deemed a constitutional violation and acting as the public, a public entity. Okay, they fail all of them, and this is a great testimony to the failure of our district courts. By the way, not one district court that I've seen so far that I've been a part of, whether it's the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, whether it's Brandy's COVID-19 case, whether it's Maurice Hicks in our case against the marshals, the judge, and Walden Security. None of them have ruled by law. This is pathetic. It is pathetic. It is beyond pathetic. Okay? I know from common sense, I don't need a bunch of words on the screen. I know from common sense that a damn judge wearing a black robe in court cannot dictate to me that I must put something in my body for me to access and egress a courtroom. Okay, I
Courthouse, not even the courtroom. Courthouse.
That's right.
There is a significant difference,
I know that her conspiring with others to restrict these basic fundamental rights of man is a conspiracy to deprive me of rights by, quote unquote, color of law.
Yeah.
So again, it's so easy that a fifth grader could articulate the facts, the reality, the common sense knowledge of it. Okay, so under the nexus or joint action test, state action may be found. I read that a private party's joint participation with state officials in the seizure of disputed property is sufficient to characterize that party as a quote unquote state actor for purposes of the 14th Amendment. Under any formula, however, the inquiry into whether private conduct is fairly attributable to the state must be determined based on the circumstances of each case. All right. And we'll see here, this is very important to us. I want to read this to you. This is important for the hospitals. Similarly, A private hospital is not transformed into a state actor merely by statutory regulation. That's the case. Finding no state action in hospitals, disciplinary action against doctor, even though statutes regulated hospital and provided limited judicial review. With that said, we have public function, state coercion test. We have the nexus. We have, I'm pretty sure it's the Ninth Circuit. Somebody fact check me out there. Whatever. It's called the symbiotic relationship. That means they're so intertwined that you cannot separate the two from the action involved. So with Brandy's case, we're now in the Fifth Circuit. Might be 9 months from now. Whatever.
14, maybe.
Who knows? The shame of it is, and that there's absolutely zero way that in a real state with a real system of law, following the common law, that a sane and reasonable person could not rule that there was a conspiracy to deprive people of their life, liberty, and property during COVID. There's nowhere to go. So one of the things that was part of our law, for the government to come in and say that you have to do something, they would have had to prove beyond a reasonable shadow of doubt that the edict that they chose did in fact eliminate the evil completely, not just partially, completely. And yet the fact sheets from Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson all stated unequivocally from the very beginning that what? That the benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To review what Brandon's saying is if the state chooses to act and deprive rights for purposes of health, then whatever action they take has to completely eliminate the threat from others.
That's right.
And we know that none of the jabs completely eliminated the threat. They didn't completely eliminate the threat, and neither did any of the muzzles or face diapers. They didn't.
Nope.
They didn't completely eliminate the threat either. So the state cannot act without completely eliminating it, and that's not what we have seen happen.
And it's a taking, right?
Right.
If we were just if we were just to apply common sense to the takings clause, we're taking something from you. But did the citizens get paid? No. We paid all the hospitals and pharmaceutical companies. Yeah. We paid them billions and billions and billions. It is the COVID must fall. 9/11 is the next doorway that must go. And the reason for this is because we're going to have to uncover the criminality that has been the war on quote unquote terror. And there's another word for terror. It means earth. It means humanity. And that's the war that's been being waged for the last 25 years. Probably, I'd say 120 years since we violated the Monroe Doctrine and then entered World War I. It's a topic for another day.
I'm pretty sure Mother Earth's about had enough.
Yeah, these are fundamentally they hate mankind, and if you understand that, if they just have an outright hatred for humanity, what is beautiful, what is natural, and that's why they invert everything that they can, and they put it on full display to psychologically abuse you. Okay, just understand that.
And distract you.
That's right. And we must stand strong for the truth. And listen, I'm not telling any of you this has been a fun journey, that I have loved every minute of this, that I just walk around singing, spraying unicorn. Yeah, singing unicorn farts into the rainbow. Whatever. No, it's not been the case. I've got August 16th. I go to court with a bunch of damn liars again. Okay. But if not me, who? If not now, when? And it's not always what I wanted to do. I just knew somebody had to do it. And without me doing it, and for those of you that do attend my YouTube channel, you'll see that we've circled back around and have fine-tuned some arguments. And without this journey in the law, facing liars, facing corruption, I wouldn't be able to do it as well. So knowledge it's ever expanding, right? And putting things in their place, and then being able to articulate simply the rules. And, unfortunately, Dr. Graves thinks the rules rule in court, but that's not quite the case. That's not quite the reality that we're living in.
No,
okay,
no, it's not.
Yes, we in our system of Anglo.
I bet the rules rule for bar members.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems anytime we break the rules, the bar members, well, he can't do that. Well, you're right, he can't do that. But that has not been the experience when the lawyers break the rules.
Oh, they do it all the time.
Yeah.
They do it all the time, and
won't be sanctioned. Won't be sanctioned.
When we go August 16th, right? Against you coming, right?
I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go.
When we go sit in court, how many times have I caught William Kelly breaking the rules? Right?
Oh God.
Every day. Literally, he wrote an amended complaint providing false information to the court. But you think the court is gonna hold him accountable? I highly doubt it. I'm gonna ask the court to sue Sponte.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask.
Let's not get too far off our topic, which is Brandy's case. But I know. We know.
Yeah.
But you're getting to the point that life is a journey, and you have used it to learn, even though it wasn't all enjoyable. And you now can do things better on this side that you couldn't do before.
Well, you couldn't, because
right.
you were what's the word I'm looking for? So when we started in the law, we had this great joy. This is it. This is going to solve all the issues, and we're going to go to court, and there's no way that they can rule against this. Bull crap. Well,
we thought that everyone would be at least reasonable,
and that's not the case.
No,
that has not been the case.
No,
and so, the 4 cardinal virtues. Look them up. Perseverance is one of them, in a fortuitous attitude, and that means to persevere. They will try to wear out the saints. They will try to wear you out. But what we do is reveal the inner workings of darkness. Don't allow them to browbeat you and lie to you and subjugate you to nonsensical bullshit. So excuse my language, people. The truth is that we're in an ideological war, and the goal is to take away from us our system of law, which allowed us, the peasants, to walk into a court and hold anybody accountable for any reason that they violated our life, liberty, and property. So we can't have that type of system in an oligarchy. Okay? You can't have that in a corporatocracy, in a fascist or communistic society, because then we can go into court. We can hold the Rothschilds. We can hold the Rockefellers. We can hold the Pfizer CEO accountable. Okay? So they want to take this from us, and we cannot allow them to take this method of holding people responsible for the deprivation of our life, liberty, and property under the color of law. We have a beautiful system. It's been in place since 1215, and it would be a damn shame if we allowed these criminals and these psychopaths to take it from us. And then if we allow them to take it from us, we'll be servants from hereafter. So with that, I hope everybody reads the case that Gary's going to put in here. The appeal brief has more case law in it than any other writing that I've done. And instead of appealing to reason like I've done in all my other briefs, I stopped doing it. Yeah. I was just dry, straight to the point, and what would be called fact pleading. And it's unfortunate that we've gotten away from that type of pleading. And but if you read Scalia's books, that I've shared here, the reading of the law is pertinent, but also what's the other one, Gary? I've got it too. The art of pleading.
Making your case.
Making your case. I followed making your case to a T for 2 consecutive years and got nowhere. They would just dance around it, right? So I went back to the common law fact pleading. That's where you'll find Alphonse's fact pleading and things of that nature. However, that's part of our common law heritage, was what's called fact pleading. Stick to the truth. Stick to the facts. You do not have to be overcomplicate things and get. One of the things that I've Gary and I have encountered is this ability of these lawyers to lie so vehemently to try to get your case thrown out by technicality. Here's where that differs from our common law system. They shouldn't be able to get off with a 12B1, 12B6 and just throw your case out when it has constitutional rights. And I'm going to circle back around right here. We cannot give up our private rights of life, liberty, and property for public privileges. Okay? Do not give them up. Stand fast. Stand tall for that which is truthful, and have no accord with the unfruitful works of darkness. And that, look, every lawyer that you're going to come up against. I got another win yesterday, by the way. The lady who I was helping, her doctor husband was killed in Nevada. Won her case to keep all his assets in the trust. Make no mistake, they want to take everything from you. And what I mean by everything is they want to have complete controlling interest in your life, your liberty, and your property. And the first property is right here and right here. Okay? We can't give that up. That's
Well, it's not even yours anyway. It's on loan from your creator.
That's right.
You know, so,
well, and they hate
for
that
anyone else to take interest in it is offending. Who created them?
Very offensive. But
Yes.
they hate everything natural. They want to invert the natural order because they hate order. They want chaos, and of course, order out of chaos. Right. Right. I can't remember the Latin term. Abdicaia. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, that's why your entire reality is inverted. They hate the design. They want to give you false promises of man. So your entire reality is based off by man, of man, and for man, right? That man is going to ascend above the Most High. and of course we understand this because we have common sense.
Yeah,
right?
that's like Charlie Brown ascending above Charles Schultz.
Yeah,
It's
right.
just not going to happen.
It's just not going to happen. But nonetheless, read the appeal. It's only, what is it, 42 pages? 42 pages. You'll notice in this appeal brief, with Gary's infinite help, it's not my strong. The table of contents is correct. All our case laws, you'll see Bass First Parkwood Hospital, right? It's right there. This case, just like all the others during COVID, is simple. It's very simple. Either a private entity has complete controlling interest over your life, liberty, and property, or they don't. It's just that simple. And I hope the Fifth Circuit rules correctly. And if they do, Brandon Sibley at this point and Gary will have the means to actually put all our work time into Legal Beagles and the YouTube channels. That's what I hope for. But I have yet to see a reasonable ruling in the federal courts.
Yeah. Well, like Klaus Schwab says, own nothing and you'll be happy.
Eats the bugs.
Eats the bugs. Full of protein. You'll love it.
It just eats the bugs.
Yeah. You eat some bugs. How about that?
Yeah.
You eat bugs. You do anything you want. When you stop when you stop Coca-Cola from bottling in plastic, then you can come to me about environmental issues if it doesn't stop. But until then, you can go sell crazy someplace else because I'm all stocked up right here.
And it sucks. It does. But this is the reality that we've been born into, right?
Yeah,
and
I think we chose it.
We have to undo all the damage from the idiots before us. And look, I'm not picking on grandma and grandpa or the boomers, but they bought every piece of propaganda sold to them. Every piece. And yes, they lived in a great time. They built their houses for $14,000 and now can sell them for $1 million.
Which is why the propaganda worked.
That's exactly why it worked.
Because they bought them off.
They did. They gave them mammon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they accepted mammon. And when they accepted,
under the precept that they earned the mammon.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And unfortunately, we're living in a time frame where the darkness is being revealed. Okay. Just know that we're in the fight for a reason. And the reason is for truth and justice, and not this fake ass equity crap that they're trying to plead to you. Whiteness is a disease. This is coming from their perspective now. Whiteness is a disease, which means that education, individualism, and life, liberty, and property are under attack. And they want to dispossess you of all of it. That means your home, that means your body, and that means your conscience. They are trying to control everything. We cannot allow that to happen. We cannot allow that to happen. So we must stand tall. We must fight with every inch and every breath that we take, because this is the fight for freedom. And look, it's in a different realm of the 1776. They gave us the internet to control us, right? And here we are using it for different means. And make no mistake, whether it's Elon Musk or anybody else, they're controlled entities. They do not want you talking about truth. They want you, if you just go on X or any other social media, they want you controlled by the different mimetic warfare that is going on. You'll see it every day if you pay attention. But nonetheless, we're not going to get distracted by that. We have to take back our judicial system, which is our check and balances on the executive and legislative branch. It is ours, not theirs. The judicial branch is ours. And it is the right and the duty of an American citizen to exercise their rights in a court of law. And that means law must be brought back, and every individual who violates the law must be held accountable. That includes the speaker, that includes the president, that includes all of them. They must be held accountable. And that is the greatness of our constitutional republic, and it's the first system in the world that was able to hold them accountable. And so with that, I'm going to close. I hope this enlightens people out there. Gary, you have anything else to say? Say it. Read Brandy's appeal. Understand what the nexus, the public function test is, the state compulsion test. And like I said, the 9th or the 11th Circuit, I can't remember which one, is the symbiotic relationship test, but they're all the same, right? For a private entity to come in and physically compel you, okay, this is the state compulsion test. Only the state can physically compel performance, whether by physically compulsion, that means restraining, arresting you, or through the act of what's called coercion, which is threatening your job. You can't keep your job unless you do this. That is the physical compulsion test. And only the state, the government is given that capacity. Read your Federalist 51, understand human nature. It never changes. The one constant throughout history is mankind. And with that, when you understand that, you'll have full view of the restrained, the constrained vision, and the unconstrained vision that Thomas Sowell talks about. Anybody preaching a utopia of any type, of any kind, based on philosopher kings or quote unquote experts is a liar. They're a liar. They're selling you snake oil.
Well, they're selling to gain power.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you want to buy, you want to give them power, then that's up to you. But yeah, I think we can call it a day. That we're not even in an hour. That's wonderful. And thank you for being here. Thank you for donating the time as usual. And we'll catch you again soon.
On the flip side.
On the flip side.